Well, hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Adam, thanks for hanging out with me again today, and on today's video we're taking a look at a couple chargers. So the folks over at GT Power sent over this box to me so I could take a look at the chargers, share them with you guys, see if they're any good. So there are also some other stuff in here as well. So the first one we have is their TD610 Pro, and this one is a full color LCD display with touchscreen. It's 10 amp, 100 watt charger, does nickel metal hydride, NiCad, the lead acid batteries, lithium high voltage, the lithium polymer, lithium ion, and lithium ferrite or ferride, whatever it is, the life batteries. So this one seems like it is a great charger, and looks to have a really nice, LCD display to walk you through everything. Now this one was the one I was interested in as well. This is their bigger brother to this guy. This one is a more, experienced RC enthusiast charger. There's no fancy touchscreen. There's no, gauges and graphs and all that stuff. This one is just straight up, you need to know what you're charging your batteries to, what your limits are, and, you need to have a little bit more know-how to run this one safely, but you can run two batteries at the same time, and I believe you can run two different chemistries at the same time. So if you're charging a LiPo battery on channel A, then channel B you can actually charge a nickel metal hydride pack as well, which I love because some days I'm running both. And this one does, the same batteries as this one does, just dual versus single, and a little bit more probably user-friendly interface with this one versus this one. So this one you guys will see in an upcoming video. I'm going to do its dedicated video just on this one. This one's going to take me a little while to wrap my head around with and get it all set up so I can demonstrate it properly. So this is their Bluetooth version of their RC sound and light simulation kit. It's supposed to have like 58 different sounds to it. This little box here is absolutely packed with stuff. I opened it up, took a look at it, and then closed it back up, because this one's going to need its whole dedicated video for this one. So what I'm going to do is we're going to set this one aside. That one's going to have its own video. First up is we're going to take a look at this TD610 Pro. Alright guys, so here is the box. This is the TD610 Pro 10 amp 100 watt AC/DC battery charger. Charges lithium batteries, nickel batteries, as well as lead acid. And you guys can take a screenshot if you want to look at anything closer. But here is the charger as it comes out the box. Sorry about the glare, but big LCD screen on there. You have your outputs, positive, negative, and then you have your balance ports. So you have 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6S charge balance leads here. Then on the other side, you have your AC power in, your DC power in. So there's a 3-wire temperature port there, and then a micro USB update port. So you can plug this into your computer, get updates. They're basically talking about the firmware of it, as well as upgrades to the display and everything. Now, since this is touchscreen, they actually give you a little stylus to touch on the screen, and the front is magnetic. So your little stylus sticks right to the charger. I thought that was a cool little idea. Now, there is no on-off. It's basically plug it in, it's going to be on. So besides the charger, obviously you get the owner's manual. There is a lot of good information in here and a quick read through of it. It's very well written, so it's not one that you're gonna have to decipher half of what they're saying in the manual. You get a nice little GT Power sticker to go on your toolbox or something. You have your AC plug for the charger. Then you have your DC plug, so it has the dual end plug there and alligator clip, so you can clamp it to I think it's 12 to 18 volt power source. So you have your main adapter with the banana plugs to plug into the charger, and it comes with a T-plug or Dean's connector, whichever terminology you prefer. I prefer Dean's, so that's what we're going to refer to it as the rest of the video. Now, you do have a handful of adapters. So you get a Dean's to clip. So if you're charging a lead acid battery, you can just plug, good Lord, these things are stiff. Plug that in and you can clamp on to a lead acid battery and charge that. You have a small battery pack plug for like receiver pack, stuff like that. You have a small 2-prong almost like a servo type plug, JST, whatever it is. And then you have a glow plug charger adapter, so it's actually mimics the top of a glow plug, so you can plug this in, and if you have a rechargeable glow igniter, you can pop that in. So I thought that was a cool little upgrade. Now, the only problem with this one is if a lot of people are going to have these or something similar, you know, that's why you have your backups of random plug adapters. And if you guys have chargers, then you probably already have these. If not, these are super easy to make and or buy off of Amazon. Now, another suggestion, and I haven't tried it yet, but a extension for your balance port. Because a lot of times, like my batteries, sorry for the Velcro, you know, I use Z brand, so T-plug on there already, Dean's, so that's nice. But this guy, you know, you have to be right there beside the charger, and when you're charging it in your LiPo bag, you know, it makes it more difficult. So this will allow you to plug this in and then be able to plug this in so your battery and all can stay away from the charger. So if you're charging in a bat safe or if you're charging in your LiPo bags, which you should be, it gives you extra room to move it away. Now, I'm hopeful that this one will plug into the 6-cell and it will recognize all of them. It should. It should recognize what cells are connected, but that'll give you an extra bit of room. I kind of wish they had included one with it, but again, those things are cheap on Amazon. I think I got this, it was like a 4-pack of them for like $8, something like that. So they're not expensive. So I guess right now the only thing is get the power cord hooked up to it and take a look at the display. All right, so we have the charger powered on. There's nothing hooked to it yet, but as you can see, this is your main screen here. You have right here is a temperature gauge. So you have an internal temperature and an external temperature. So right now there's nothing hooked to it. So it'll basically be reading the ambient temperature of the charger itself. It's not hooked up to a battery, so it has no idea. Then you have your current and power. So it basically is like a volt gauge, like your car. Then you have your chart here where it's showing your input and output and all that stuff and your progress of your charge. Over here you have your time, the charge time, so however long it's been on charge or discharge. You have your status, so right now it's in standby, but you have charge and discharge and balance and all kinds of other statuses. You have your input voltage, so right now it's hooked up to the household power, so right now it's just under the 16 volt max that the charger runs off of. Then it has the output voltage, obviously nothing there, but it'll show you what output's going into the battery. Then you have your average voltage of each cell. So if you're charging, you know, a 6-cell LiPo, it will tell you the average voltage of every cell. Then you have a gap, which this will show you the difference between your most charged cell in your battery and the least charged. So again, if you're charging a 6S pack, it'll show you the one with the most capacity and the least capacity and tell you what the difference is in that. It should be very similar. So if you have a giant gap in there, that may indicate that there's something wrong with the battery. Then you have your 6 different voltage indicators down here, right now showing 0, but that will show you per cell what your current voltage is in each one. So then we have the settings. So we can control the brightness, you can control the colors, you can keep the beeps. So you can turn those down, you can leave them up, whatever you want. So I guess it has like an ending music. Right now we'll just leave everything there. You can save your settings. They have the safety settings, so you can tell it when to turn the battery off or turn the charger off if it continues to charge and never reaches the peak voltage. So right now it's set at 150 minutes, but if you want to set it more or less, you can change that. You can change your temperature cutoff. Right now, ADC, it's maxed out, but since we're not going to be doing that, I think it's just checking the charger to make sure it doesn't get too hot. Capacity cutoff, you can tell it where to cut off. All this stuff is in the manual. I'm just kind of going through it. The low voltage cutoff. Then your nickel settings. So you can set your peak, your cycle times. So if you want to cycle a battery of charge and discharge, you can set that in here and give it a time, how many times you want to do it. And then there's also a, I think the waste time is what you can set in between the charge and the discharge cycle, I believe. You can have your voltage per cell in cycle. Then you have your system settings. The good thing is, if you screw up any of these things, like you made a mistake and something's not working right, there is a factory reset. And obviously it gives you a nice warning to say, are you sure you want to do this? But if you do something incorrect, or all of a sudden something's not working like it was, you can reset it to the factory settings, which is very nice. Touch calibration, so it's basically saying, press and hold across for 1 second, press and hold across for 1 second. So basically it's setting up everything there. You have multiple battery memories, so you can change all of these at any time. So if you're in one of the menus and you want to go back to the main page, just hit start. It takes you back to the menu. Don't hit it again because it's going to try to start a charge cycle. So right now it's set to lithium high voltage. We want to change that and go to lithium polymer. But any of those you can change. So if you want to do nickel metal hydride, you have an old NiCad pack you're trying to bring back to life. If you have a lead acid battery or any of the lithium batteries, you can charge that. So right now we're going to say LiPo, and then we're going to go to the charge. You have a storage charge, a fast charge, balance charge, discharge, regular charge, and IR test. Then right now we have it set, it's currently set to 6S. So we're going to go down and drop it to a 2S, confirm. And then we're going to hook our battery up. Sorry, I'm doing this off camera because I want to keep the charger in view best we can. All right, so we have the batteries now hooked up. We have our battery set to 2S, 7.4 volts. Confirm. Charge. Let's do a balance charge. And then here we want to set our current levels. So right now it's currently set to 10 amps. Now I have a 5200 milliamp 50C pack. Normally the rule of thumb with charging lithium batteries, or really any battery, it's 1 amp per milliamp. So to safely charge this, I'm going to move this down to 5.2. And then discharge currently set to 3 amps, so that's fine. We're not discharging right now. Confirm. So we have it set on balance charge. We have it set to lithium polymer, 2S, 5.2 amps, and go ahead and start. So you can see I have 3.85 volts in this cell, 3.85 volts in this cell, and the average is showing 3.85 volts. There's no gap because both cells are balanced. We have an output voltage of 8.08. So I think right now it's kind of going through its test. The fan hasn't kicked on, so I don't think it's, well, no, we're actually putting out 5.2 amps, 42.8 watts. I was expecting the fan to kick on, so kind of silent. My other one, as soon as you plug it up, the fans kick on and stay on the entire time. So it's a very noisy charger. I'm kind of glad this one is much quieter. So you can see we're already up 3.88 volts, 3.88 volts. The average is showing 3.88. So we're successfully charging a battery. You can see the graph is starting to move up as, you know, the battery power is moving up. Okay, so the battery just completed. And while it was charging, I think the fan kicked on twice. And the charge took 26 minutes and 4 seconds. You can see the status is saying done. So now we have the battery voltage is reading 8.32. The average is 4.2 per cell, and there's only a gap of 0.01 volts in between cell 1 and cell 2. We have 420 and 421. Overall, we put in 1609 milliamps back into the battery. So this was at a storage charge, so that kind of makes sense. But overall, really happy with it. I love that it's super quiet. I like the touchscreen interface. I like the little stylus. That makes it really nice. Especially if you're working on something and you got, you know, greasy, dirty fingers. You're not over here touching the screen with your fingers. You actually can use a little stylus. Stylus actually extends, so if you want something that feels more like a pen, you can do that. I don't mind doing it like this. Okay, so the internal resistance test, 0.001 ohms and 001 ohms, and total of, I guess, milliohms, and a total of 0.002 milliohms. So battery seems to be in great shape. So let's go to storage, maybe. So now that we're doing storage on here, it automatically went into the discharge mode because the voltage is already high on the battery. So as soon as it goes into the discharge mode, the fan kicks on, because it's basically taking the battery power that we put in here and turning it back into heat in here. So the fan is going to kick on. So the whole time it's doing the discharge, it's going to have that fan on there. So I'm going to let this run, see how long it takes to discharge the battery at 3 amps, but I'll come back and show you guys the results at the end of that. Okay guys, I stopped this because it is taking a little bit longer than I wanted it to, and I just want to get done with the video. So right now we're sitting at 1 hour and 31 minutes. It's discharged the cells down to about 388, 389 per cell. So obviously with, putting in 1500 milliamps, it was on storage charge to begin with, so we've got to take out roughly 1500 milliamps anyway. We've already taken out 1265, so we still got about 300 left to go, which is probably going to equate to another 20-30 minutes on here. So I just cut it off for right now. I'll turn it back on, finish discharging the battery, and get it to a nice safe storage level. But for now, I want to keep the video going. So I did find out one thing kind of off camera. So the graph here shows an awful lot of information, and it was just kind of too much, and it was very confusing with so many lines on there. But you can basically turn on and off the different settings. So you can turn the temperature in and temperature out on and off, and I've got those off currently to clean up the display. You can turn the power output out, the current output off. You can change all the different stuff back and forth to customize the graph as you want. Overall, I'm very happy with the charger. It's a very nice, it's a lightweight little charger. It doesn't weigh a ton, so I think the charger is going to do everything you need it to do. I like the touch display, especially with the little stylus. I like the memory mode, so you can basically program these to be specific endpoints. So if I wanted to do this 2S 7.4 fast 5 amp charge with a 1 amp trickle, I could just click that yes and go. So you could save multiple different batteries on one screen and then come back to it quickly. So if you had a bunch of 2S packs, 3S packs, 4S packs, and they're all kind of the same ones, 2S, 3S, 4S, and then dumb down here and nickel metal hydride and lipo or lithium high voltage, blah blah blah, and you can just program these to be whatever you want them to be. So, the only thing I could say negative about this charger so far is the lack of the balance port extension here. That makes it a whole lot easier to safely keep your battery away, and you don't have to everything like slammed up tight. Because like I said, in the, trying to charge this in the pack, you got to kind of cram it into the hole, and you're putting stress on wires and everything. So having the little balance port is a very beneficial thing. I understand why they probably don't put it in there. It's cost and weight savings for them, but I do think overall that little balance port would be a great addition. But otherwise, very happy with the charger. So this is the X2 Pro balance charger. So it's dual charger, so you can do 2 at one time. Okay, so this is the other charger. This is the X2 Pro. So we have dual outputs, dual balance leads, dual temperature inputs, and a selectable channel button to go from channel 1 to channel 2. You have an increase and decrease button here, a select and a start button. So you're going to cycle through the modes with these buttons, put your settings in, pick your battery, and start and stop cycles with this. Now on the back, we have the cooling fan for when it's discharging and occasionally when needed during charging. You have your you have your AC input, and you have your DC input, as well as a micro USB connection to do updates and stuff to the charger. Now overall, it's not a big charger, you know, for a dual charger, you know, it's not a very big one at all. So I guess to say probably same size as, you know, the Venom chargers and some of the other ones in this same form factor. It's about the same size. So let's get it plugged up. I'm trying to keep it to where it's, you know, you guys are going to be able to see, hopefully. So it starts out in lithium mode. You can cycle through to nickel metal hydride, nickel cadmium, lead acid, DJI Phantom batteries, and you can do a specific user program as well. You can save the program, load data, user set, test lithium, internal resistance, and then back to lithium mode. So for this one, you have the XT60 plugs default on the charger. So if your batteries have XT60 plugs on there, then you can plug your battery directly into the front of the charger and charge your batteries through these. Now, most of mine, like I said, all my nickel metal hydrides have the typical Tamiya plug on there, and then a lot of mine have the T plug. So they do give you the adapters in the thing for 2 T plugs to the XT60. So you're able to plug your leads in and then connect up to your battery like this. And again, adapters are available online. You can buy them at Amazon, all other kind of places. Your local hobby shop is great as well, so you can get that plugged in. So what I'm going to attempt to do is we're going to charge a 3600 milliamp nickel metal hydride on this side, and then on this side we're going to do a little 1500 milliamp 3-cell LiPo pack. So when you go back and forth between the channels, you have a green LED on the front that shows which one you're in. So since we want lithium on this side, we're going to select that. And then we're going to charge, select, charge, and then we have 1500 milliamps, so we can go to 1.5 amps. Start, and then we have a 2S, 3S pack, and then just hold down, and we're asked to confirm that it's a 3-cell series. So now we are charging. So you're seeing your LiPo 3S at, right now it's currently at 0.3 amps, total voltage 11.5152, charge time, and then the milliamp counter here. Now I believe, yeah, so you can actually see cell 1, cell 2, cell 3. So right now all 3 of them were at 3.85. So those will continue to increase as the voltage goes up. So now we can go to channel 2 and nickel metal hydride, start, charge, and then this one we have 3600 milliamps, so we can go up to 3.6. And we're charging there. So now we have both a nickel metal hydride charging on this channel and then a 3S LiPo charging on this channel. Now obviously I could bump this amperage up for that battery, but again, the general rule of thumb is to stick with 1 amp per 1000 milliamp. So for a 1500 milliamp pack, a 1.5 amp charge will do. It's going to take longer, but you're not going to worry about risking damaging cells or, you know, exploding a battery, hopefully. Now again, this one is silent until it needs to turn the fan on to cool off anything. So you don't have the cool graphs and everything, but the cool little LED on the front, once you start charging, it starts pulsing down the front of it like that to let you know that it's still charging. Yeah, it's just a neat little feature. So I'm not worried about charging this at the moment. So if you just hold that select button for a moment, it will automatically stop it and turn it off. Again, with the other one, you know, we are charging now, but if you press it and hold it, now we're back to charging and it's not doing anything. So we go back. Now we're back in the main menu. All right, so if you get into the menu, there's Program Select Extended Function. So if you hit start on that, there's actually a motor run-in setting. So if you have a set of pigtails that will come off here with like clips on there, you can clip that onto a brush motor and set up a run-in time. So you can set your time, how long you want it to run, how many amps you want it to run, and how many volts you want it to run at. So I think normal break-in is like around 5 volts, 3 to 5 volts, something like that. 5 amps would be fine, and set it to run for 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever you want it to run to. And you can actually break the brushes in on a motor. Now you can do it low, high, whatever you want to do. There's motor run in, and then there's a voltage out. So you can set this to output your amperage and your voltage to run something else. So if you have a tire truer or a motor lathe or something like that, and you want to set specific parameters to run another item, you can run this and use this as a power supply. Now, I don't have any of that stuff, so you know, this is kind of lost on me, but I know there's a lot of guys who do stuff like that and can use you know, something like this in your pits. You're only bringing one thing instead of a power supply and a charger. You know, you can use both. Okay, so there's a warmer function in here that has something to do with tires and stuff. I'm not sure about that. I've never used anything like that. There's the pulse width modulation input, so you can change the PWM directly on here for like connecting to servos and stuff like that. There's PWM out, so you can connect the servo to the 3-pin port, and you can test your servo parameters. So let me see if I have a servo here. Okay, again, hopefully you guys can see the display. I'm sorry, it's just the angle of the charger plus the cord on the back makes it difficult. But right now we've basically got it going between 1000 and 2000 repeating. So you can basically see where, make sure you have full range, make sure it's not skipping or jumping or anything like that. Now you can come in and manually set it. So right now it's set at 1500. Oops. Which 1500 should be centered. And you can see this one's not dead accurate. I think I had this in something and it had to be off centered. But basically 1500 is usually about centered. So you can use this to center your servos instead of having to bind and all that stuff with your receivers while you're working on a car. Alright guys, so I hope you guys, you know, got something out of this, found something interesting about these. Both of them have their qualities. This one does a lot of stuff. So, you know, if you're in the pits at races and you need a power supply, you need to check a servo, you need to do stuff like that, this one is going to be great for you guys, you know, on the run. You know, it serves, you know, you have a cell checker, a charger, a discharger, a power supply, a servo tester, all that stuff in one fairly small compact unit. This one has a lot of features and tells you an awful lot about your batteries. Now this one, you can also test your internal resistance like this one. This one just gives it to you in a much prettier format and is a much smaller compact thing. So this isn't going to take up as much room on your bench as this one is. You know, this one will easily fit in a box, toss in a drawer, to where this one does take up a little bit more real estate and would probably be better suited for, you know, kind of a permanent little area. Like a lot of chargers, they can't make a charger to fit everybody's battery. So I know there's going to be comments in the video, who uses T-plugs, who uses Deans, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people do. I still, half my batteries are Tamiya plugs or T-plug. I have some, you know, the XT90s, XT60s, stuff like that, but they're for specific cars that came with those, and I didn't feel like cutting the the power leads off of them. So like the Pro Moto and a couple of the Armas have those on there. Other than that, pretty much all my cars run T-plugs and intermediate plugs. So it really depends on what you're into. There's a lot of guys, you know, like Al. He has very specific, I think he has the XT 100s or XT 120, something like that. They're huge, big, singular bullet plugs that he uses. So, you know, if you have those type of batteries, more than likely you already have the adapters to plug into something like this. And again, go on Amazon, $5, $6, $7, $8. You can get the adapters. Like I said, I strongly suggest picking up a pair of these. So like I said, I got 4 of these boards for like $8 on Amazon, free shipping. So a really nice addition to it. It would have been nice if they put one in the box, but you know, it is what it is. It's $7, $8, and you know, like charge leads and everything else, they're going to be your own personal flavor and what you run. So it really boils down to, do you need something that has all these features, all this stuff in it? And obviously this one's going to be more expensive than something like this because it does 2 batteries. It has more power. It does all those other features. I really like the motor break-in feature on here. That's really nice because you can set the voltage, you can set the amperage, and you can set the time. Normally, most guys, you just put it on a power supply, run it, and you know, you have to remember that it's on. With this, I can set this over here, set it for 15 minutes to run in a motor at a low voltage, and then, you know, walk away from it. Now, speaking of walking away from it, there are some features on both of these that kind of have time limits on them. Now, the time limits are not there as, you know, a turn it off because I'm going to set my battery chargers up and walk away from them and let them turn themselves off later. That's not what they're used for. They're used for if for some reason, you know, you're charging this nickel metal hydride pack and for some reason it never peaks. It never hits that voltage, and the peak detection in here never trips to say battery's full. You know, you don't want that thing running for hours and hours and hours on end. So you can set a dead stop for something like that. But it's not a, you know, it's a safety feature, not a charge feature. You know, you don't want to set this to charge a 6S pack and be like, well, I've got the thing set to, you know, if it charges more than an hour, it turns itself off. No, that's not, no, don't do that. Put your stuff in charge bags, charge them in the charge bags, store them in the charge bags. You know, a $40 battery is, you know, not something you want to lose your house to. So that's just my battery safety rant. So don't charge your batteries and walk away from them. Now you're charging old school packs like this, you know, yeah, it can burst, it can make a mess, it can smoke up and make a bunch of stuff. Not as critical. So I'm not necessarily side by side with these, but my charger sits right there on my other bench, and if these are charging, I'm down here with it. No excuses not to be. I will try to get some links from GT Power of where you can pick these up, and you know, if you guys are interested, I think personally, you know, this one would be my go-to just because it does the dual batteries and has the extra features. But I can see this being very attractive, you know, especially if you don't have a lot of cars, you only have a couple batteries, and you really want to know what your batteries are doing, and, you know, being able to condition your batteries and get the most out of them and be extra safe to know exactly where everything is at. This one's a nice one. It's a quick and easy, and I do like the model memory in this one. Like I said, you've got 6 or 8 different, I think you had 8 different selections to program in there, and automatically, you know, you can set, you know, your favorite 2S, your favorite 3S, your favorite 4S, whatever, and set all those and just pull up that one screen, hit that, go, and be done with it. Now, of course, make sure you're hitting the right thing with the right battery, but again, that's battery safety. You got to pay attention to what you're doing. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, I will put links down in the description below where you can pick these guys up. I don't know if I'm going to have a coupon code or anything. If I do, it will be down in the description as well. But thank you very much, GT Power, for sending these over to me. So I'm going to play with these a little bit more, get more experience with them, and I will do a follow-up, you know, probably like a month or so of, you know, how I'm still liking the battery chargers, which one I'm using more, which one one of the features I like the most out of them, and I'll come back to you with kind of a follow-up on that. Anyway, until then, guys, sorry it was a little bit of a long video. There's a whole lot of stuff to go over with these guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay to the end. If you did, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Everybody out there, you guys be happy, be healthy, be safe, and I will catch you guys on the next one. See ya.